Okay, wrap it up, and we're going to move forward. Thank you, partner, for sharing. Acknowledge your partner. Okay, we're going to have the conversation of the evening. We've already been having the conversations of the evening, and this one is going to take us into brand new territory. So this is a conversation about a critical aspect of living a life of integrity. You want to really tune into this one. You're going to recognize yourself all over the place. So what we're going to look at is what it is that undermines your word to live true to your possibilities and consistent with your possibilities. We've begun to discover that keeping your possibilities alive over time requires living consistent with your word, having actions that are consistent with your possibilities. And there you are, you find yourself in a possibility, and then something happens. You want to consider that in the design of human beings, not in the design of Garang or Randy or Marissa or Alicia or Maria or Aras or Gonzalva or Giovanna. Not in the design of us individually, but in the design of us as human beings, there are mechanisms that are designed to undermine our integrity. It's like, whoa. Really? Yes. And this conversation is a conversation that's designed to give you access to that mechanism in a way that leaves you powerfully set up and powerfully able not only to give your word, to keep your word alive over time. And we're talking 28 years worth. We're talking forever. This is a conversation that is designed to take a look and really confront what that mechanism is, and then find a way to destroy it. I should love that. We're going to get rid of it. But first of all, we've got to find out what it is. So, how many of you have had this experience? You know, you started off, it was like a relationship or a new job or a new place you're living in, or you went to school, and something happens and you're like, oh, this is so cool. And then a little while down the line, it's not that way anymore. Something happened and you can't necessarily put your finger on it. Yeah, keep your hands up. You can't put your finger on it, and it feels like you've been sabotaged. Or maybe you sabotaged yourself. You know that experience? Yeah, look around. It's pretty much widespread here. Yeah, you have the experience that life is not going the way you expected it to, and what happened? You want to consider that that experience is part of the design of being human. It's the way we're built that way. Now, you got to deal with it. You've got to deal with what it is that undermines integrity. Life is not working. It's been undermined by something that happened. We've got to find out what it is. And if you're going to live a life of workability, freedom, and possibility, have that be the context for living a life you love and living it powerfully. We've got to deal with it. So what's the mechanism? Let's look. The mechanism is called a perpetration withhold. A perpetration withhold. So the mechanism that undermines our integrity always begins with a perpetration perpetration. It's not a word that we usually have in our daily language. And some of you have some sense of what a perpetration is, but let's look. So what do I mean by perpetration? I mean, a perpetration is something you do, it's wrong, or something you do that's not actually in agreement with your agreements. And you know it's wrong. It's not a surprise to you it's wrong, you just know it. I'm going to repeat it, sure. A perpetration is something that you do that is wrong, or something that you do that's not in agreement with your agreements. It goes counter to your agreements. And you know it's wrong. So to say it a little more simply, a perpetration is something you and I do that we know is wrong. You know that second piece of cheesecake? You know that screaming at the driver that just cut you off? You know the phone calls you don't return? Something you do that's no, and it's not in alignment with your agreements. I can't tell you how many times I've been driving to Landmark, somebody cuts me off and I have this hissy fit about some blankety 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 blank driver. And then I have to get over it. And I, matter at them, and I'm on my way to lead a course in transformation. Really, I have to get over it. Like, how do I do that? I just shot myself in the foot by having that little flip out moment. Anybody else? Well, I think I heard that ring recognized. Yeah? Yeah. So, a perpetration actually has an impact on us. You really want to get this. It destroys aliveness. You know how I asked you earlier tonight to pull aliveness, but it'll just kill it right off. Possibility two. It's not possible when I'm screaming at some guy who's a quarter of a mile ahead of me now. He has no clue I'm flipped out. Now what's hard to get, that is not the perpetration itself that undermines our integrity. Because we'll, from time to time, we'll do things like I just described. We know they're wrong, but they're not in agreement with our agreements. And in some way, they do damage or destroy our aliveness, our sense of what's possible. But that's not the problem. Now, so how many of you can see you have things that you've perpetrated in life? Raise your hand if you can see it for yourself. No, Sarah?
No, I'm trying to think of an example right now.
Okay, great. Just stay with me here. So, Sarah, I just want you to get this. We're not going to go like full steam ahead. So, what do you do in life? Would you go? Just use the mic. Let's just have the mic. So, Sarah, great. Thank you. Because I just want you to get it. It's not like, now, some of you may not get this tonight. I just want to be clear. So, Sarah, you may not get this tonight. You might get it in 2 weeks. It took me about 20 years before I actually ever got that I was a perpetrator withholder. So if you don't get it tonight, it's okay. You're going to get the conversation anyway. But let's look. So have you ever done something that you know is wrong?
Yes.
Yes. Can you give an example?
There's too many.
There are lots, right? And then have you ever just kept it to yourself to stay out of trouble?
Yes.
That's a perpetration withhold. Right? That's the perpetration. So you did something that was wrong, and then we're going to go to the next part of it, is that you actually didn't tell anybody about it. Now, have there been people or things that are the objects of your perpetration?
That's what I was trying to think of. Because it's things that I know that, like eating a piece of cheesecake, having the second piece,
Yeah.
things like that. But I'm trying to think of when other people were involved. But when other people are involved, I do the right thing.
Always?
99% of the time. I'm trying to think of that 1% where I really was.
Okay.
I have a really guilty conscience.
Oh, well, let's look at that. No, I don't want to go psychological here.
Yeah.
This is not about guilt. But we know it's wrong, right? Yeah, so we know it's wrong. Like for me, it's like I'm on a diet to lose 43 pounds. I actually got the number down. I know it's exactly 43. I've been measuring standards and ideals, right? Every day I'll get on the scale, and it's either up a little or down a little. And today it was down a little, and I was, yes, this was good. And then I thought, okay, now I can't like eat any more sweets, right? So that's my agreement. But I'll tell you, if you put a little cheesecake in front of me, I just might be tempted. How many of you can see that you would be? Yeah, we would be. Now that's a simple example. So the perpetration is what? Against myself. Right? And I'm not going to tell you about it, even though I just did. But I wouldn't normally tell you about it. I just do it, and then hope that then I have to do something else to like run faster tomorrow to work it off. Are you in the territory in the room with us?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. So, now, if this doesn't quite make sense to you yet, stay with it. We're gonna go round and round and get zero in on this. See, perpetrations in and of themselves are not a problem, because you and I know how to restore integrity. We know how to clean up a mess, don't we? You need to clean up this. Here, Ross, clean up a mess. Okay, so we know how to restore integrity, we know how to clean up a mess, we even know how to be authentic in our doing of that. But that's not what happens with the perpetration withhold mechanism. Rather than complete the perpetrations, you and I do this thing called withholding. We don't tell anybody. But it gets worse. It actually gets good. Just stay with me here. So a withhold, let's look at that. It's something there that could be said. It means actually to be said. It's there to be acknowledged, and we don't say it and we don't acknowledge it. Human beings, the one sitting in your seat, human beings are hardwired to withhold. We don't want to get in trouble. How many of you have been spending your whole life avoiding trouble? Hello? Yeah, we do. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't talk about it. We lay low. But we perpetrate. We just do things and like that. So we actually have an undeclared commitment. It's unspoken. It's hidden, actually, to keep out of trouble. So of course we withhold. It just makes sense, doesn't it? And it's the perpetration withhold mechanism that undermines our integrity. Now, we got to keep working this. I see a little like that on the faces, right? It's not quite there yet. Hang on 1 second. So you and I have a perpetration. We're present to the perpetration, something that we did wrong. But given our design as human beings, rather than get that perpetration complete, we had some good coaching tonight, good sharing tonight. People got perpetrations completed. But normally what we do is we just withhold. And in the moment that a perpetration withhold is created, our integrity is destroyed. So how come is the question. Why does that happen? Why do we do that? Anybody got a sense of why we do that? Gail?
Well, in order to restore integrity, you have to correct the problem, and if you withhold it, you aren't like apologizing for the wrong or.
Yeah, that's right. But why would we do that? Why wouldn't we clean up the mess?
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, we get in trouble. Why wouldn't we care about that? Nobody wants to get in trouble. We all know that, right? But why not?
Well, we'd have to admit that we're like did something wrong.
Bingo. You just said it eloquently. We'd have to admit that we did something wrong. Thank you. That's it. Thank you. Now, it says in the manual, but I'm just going to repeat pretty much what you just said, because rather than confront our perpetration, we make something or someone else wrong. We don't admit that we're wrong. And with the perpetration withhold, this is the insidious part. This is why it doesn't work and it destroys integrity. We make something or someone else wrong. In our perpetration withhold, we actually make it up. We just create a view for ourselves that someone or something else, not me, is responsible for our loss of freedom, power, and possibility. There I am, I'm driving, the guy cuts me off, and I'm having a hissy fit, as I just said, blaming him for my upset. Someone else is at fault. How many of you don't have enough time to get your life working? How many of you? Raise your hand. Well, we went through this tonight. How many of you get overwhelmed? Yeah, whose fault is that? It's all the works. It's your boss. How many of you get a headache when your husband says something or your wife says something? How many of you blame somebody else for how come your life's the way your life is? You got to be real straight with this. You blame somebody else or some situation for why your life doesn't work. It's politics. That's kind of a big one today. And we're right in the thick of it. You see, the question, why are perpetration withholds difficult for people to deal with? Because authentically, to be able to deal authentically with our perpetration withholds, you and I would have to come face to face with that aspect of ourselves that destroys aliveness. And it's not a pretty picture. When you look in the mirror and you see that you're the culprit, how often does that happen? You don't walk past someone and you go, hey, culprit. You don't, you just keep walking. How many of you actually spend any time confronting yourself that you're the culprit in life? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, that's pretty good. Now, how many of you beat up on yourself about that? Right, so that's taking morality and entangling it completely with integrity, and we got to take that morality out. You're looking at the chief beater-upper on self. I'm the biggest beater-upper on myself, that maybe not as big as you. Right, we just do that, but that is what lacks integrity. Beating up on yourself makes no difference whatsoever. And you just blame yourself for being a jerk. So what? Blame has nothing to do with it. I have this t-shirt now. I was working on the assignment and I was looking at this and I went, well, it's kind of like when I blame people. That's how I know I've got some perpetration withhold going on, because I'm always blaming somebody. And so I made myself a t-shirt, big black marking pen letters, that is born to blame. That's the human condition. So some of you are going to start to take this personally. You want to get, it's not you, it's all of you, all y'all. And that doesn't lighten it up, actually. Because you can't help yourself. Rather than look at the aspect of ourselves that destroys aliveness, it's easier to put the blame on somebody else, on something else. Your father, your mother, your little brother, your big sister, your teacher, your boss, society. There's a song called Blame It on the Bossa Nova. You put the blame all over the place, but not here. And we go around perpetrating, and then we withhold and we pretend that nobody's going to notice, and then our relationships start falling apart because we then start blaming the people closest to us for our crimes. We don't clean our bedrooms, and then the mom yells at us, and we're like, oh, it's her fault. We call her a certain name. Yeah, or you get the picture, getting the picture. So you want to now begin to look in your life and see where you have perpetration with holes. Now, there is something here to look at that really, really is going to give us some freedom. We're not there yet, but I'm about to, so just check this out. Rather than look at the aspect of ourself that destroys aliveness, it is easier to put the blame on somebody else. So the question then is, what else could we do if we don't do that? If we didn't do that, if we could actually let go of that, give it up. What could we do? Now what's possible? Well, here it is. Confront. Confront your perpetration with holes. And when you do that, you will discover that it creates an enormous opportunity. Enormous opportunity. I mean enormous opportunity for restoring integrity, for bringing extraordinary levels of workability, freedom, and possibility to life. Now, I want to talk a little bit, I said I was going to talk a little bit earlier. One of the things that I've discovered about myself, the perpetration. I will say, because I'm seminar leader, for one thing, and I'm leading the integrity seminar, that word is what I'm creating a relationship to as the source, the whole source of designing a life of workability, freedom, and possibility. And I'm the designer. My word is what we're talking about. And my relationship to word sucks the big one. My relationship to word is really, has been, weak. Mainly, I do it if I feel like it, and I don't if I don't. Now, you may have something similar to this going on, but I'm really speaking now about my relationship to word and how that has been a perpetration. I pretend to be someone who is utterly and totally, relentlessly committed to honoring my word as myself. But here's the truth. It's a good idea. It is, isn't it? It's a good idea. Really good. I should do that. But I don't. There's the perpetration. And then what do? I blame other people. I blame life. I blame being way too busy. I can't keep my word. There's too much to do. How can I get all this done? How can I be authentic with my friends and be authentic with my participants, with you? I promised you last week. I promised you. You may not even remember, but I promised you I would call you. How many of you got a call from me this week? Even if you didn't return my call, you got a call from me. Sounds like you need to check your voice messages. How many of you got a text message from me this week? Right, and I haven't returned all of them. How many of you have I had a conversation with this week? Excellent. How many of I had not had a conversation with this week? You're the people I broke my promise to. I said I would and I didn't. And that's how it goes. And it doesn't work. So I'm re-promising to call you again this week. Now, if you really insist on wanting me to call you this week, would you fill out one of those communication forms and say, Fred, keep your promise. But I want to say one last thing. And we're going to move on a little bit because I want to hear from you. My relationship to word doesn't work, especially because I'm your leader. How can I expect you to keep your word if I don't keep my word? You get that? No wonder you're not keeping your word. So you can blame me, it's okay. But that would be a perpetration. The perpetration has been that I pretend to honor my word when I have not. So now, just tonight, what do I do about that? I create a bigger possibility. Just because I can, because I have the power to clean up a mess. So from now on, I'm drawing a line in the sand. I am committed, it's so hard for me to say this, I am committed to honoring my word at all times. And I have no clue how to make that happen, except to honor my word at all times. Now I'm inspired by that. I'm thinking, wow, what a life I would have if I did that. And I'm thinking, what a life I could give if I had that, if I just went ahead and honored my word. When I said I was going to do it, that it happened. That when I promised something, count on it. That's a whole new world to me. I'm so glad I'm doing this seminar, that it actually brought this up and had me go face to face with what works least about me. My perpetrations do not work. It doesn't mean I'm a bad man. Taking the morality straight out of it. It just doesn't work. So I invite you to look for yourself, confronting your perpetration withholds. So I want to take a little bit of sharing. What are some of the ways that you perpetrate and withhold? What are you seeing for yourself where you perpetrate and withhold? Now this is, I'm asking you to do something, to tell one on yourself right now. I'll get it if you don't really want to stand up. But I'm inviting you. What are some of the perpetration withholds that you have in your life? Maybe it's not here in the seminar with me. Probably not. I doubt that you're doing much perpetrating on me. But, maybe. But where in your life are there perpetration withholds? Who's got one? Elizabeth, would you give her the mic and just say what it is?
I tell my boyfriend I have walked my dog when I haven't.
Okay, and the impact is?
The impact is that my dog does not get exercise and I have lied to my boyfriend.
Yeah, you lied to your boyfriend until 2. Right? Right? So, what's the impact on you?
That I have the moral side coming back to me saying that I am a bad puppy mommy.
Bad puppy mommy.
And that I'm a liar.
Yeah.
And I'm breaking my word to myself of I will walk my dog every day.
Yeah. Okay. So, 3 or 4 right there. Clear. Excellent. Thank you so much. Who else? Beautiful. Yeah. Not beautiful, but you get it. It's not a pretty picture. But it's really great to be able to just face it. See, there it is. What else? Who else? Aras and then Paul. Deb, why don't you just bring that over to Paul and then we'll go straight to him. Go ahead, Aras.
So last week I mentioned that I have given myself a lot of promises, and this week I noticed that things are getting dark, and what you said for preparation makes exact sense, because I noticed that I touched my phone when I was driving. Yeah, and at the moment I said, I didn't think for a second, I touched it and the key was in ignition. So my promise is not have the key in the ignition when I touch the phone. I touched that, it doesn't seem to be a big thing, but it has made my promise dark. I see that.
Are you talking about texting and driving?
No, not texting, just touching the phone.
Touching the phone. That's the promise you've made.
Yes.
And to whom did you make the promise?
Myself.
And what's the impact on you?
The promises that I have made are becoming more like a burden than something that I'm
Okay,
excited.
this is too much. I can't do it. Is that how it's coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, clear.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. There's more to go. Who else? Paul, you're next.
This one's tough. I profess to be a man of God. And when stupid people do stupid things, I really get ticked off. I got rear-ended today. And I got out of the car and I threw my keys down and I go, what the were you thinking? And so that's it. And now the whole world knows about it. Even she knows. But yeah, that's
What's
it.
the impact on you, Paul?
I make myself terribly wrong about that. And there are a lot of broken agreements out there that I need to go.
For example?
Well, the guy that rear-ended me today.
What's the broken agreement?
Well, it's the I profess to be a man of God, and I have promised not to swear at others, and I swore at him today.
Okay, now I get the broken promise.
That's the broken promise.
You swore. You
I swore.
cursed
Yes.
at another human being.
And another human being,
Yeah. Got it.
and I lost it. And
And then
so
what the impact on you and the other person is?
he sent me a text, and you know, thank you for being, what's the word he used? I forget what the word he used was. But I could tell he's another man of God also. So that's the perpetration loophole. The perpetration is that it's sometimes the way that I get angry and lose it with other stupid people.
Yeah, but what's the withhold part? Where did you withhold?
I don't tell people about it.
Yes.
It's a
except
secret.
tonight.
Yeah, except for tonight. Yeah, and I'm calling myself on that.
Yeah,
It's
great.
something that really
Good, and what's the impact on you when you do that?
make myself wrong.
Yeah.
It really has an impact on my relationship with God, and it really impacts my relationship with other people.
Yeah, it has an impact on your relationship with God. It's a big deal.
Yeah, huge, way huge. Yeah,
That's a very big deal, Paul.
it's a big deal. Yeah, and so my.
Take the morality out.
I'm taking it's a broken agreement. It's a total broken agreement. And so,
Okay, now, what do you see might be possible?
so the possibility is loving everybody, is loving my neighbor, loving everybody, having love, just the possibility of love.
Okay,
Just the possibility of living in love and compassion for others.
and does that restore integrity?
It does.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my commitment is that tomorrow I will clean that up with him.
You'll clean it up tomorrow with
I
him.
will do that.
Brilliant work, thank you.
Do that.
Okay. So let's go with Rob one more, and then we're going to move on. We're running late, and I want to be sure we get everyone having an opportunity to share tonight. Go ahead.
So this has to do with promises or agreements that I make to myself. Like, I'm going to do this much on that project, and
Yeah.
something within commitments. If you don't take action within 48 hours, it pretty much isn't going to happen.
Wait. You just made up a whole story about that. That's a kind of, doesn't really have the thing. What's the
Well,
perpetration?
that's the impact, is that it never
Yeah,
happened.
you just jumped in about, we're like asking the question, Rob.
It's that I
Wait, my finger,
forget.
excuse me. What is... Oops. So, what's the perpetration? What is it that you're doing wrong, that you know is wrong, and that you don't usually tell anybody about it except right now?
Not following through on the commitment that I made.
Yeah, I don't follow through on my commitment. Pretty much everywhere.
No, I'm just specifically in the area. Well, I mean, you could probably specifically on like projects that I do on my own at
Yeah.
home. I want to write, 3 more articles for my website
Yep.
tonight.
Yeah.
And then everything happens. You go home, you eat, and then it's 10:30 or 11:30, and I'm like, oh my god, all right, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, and what do you blame that on?
Myself. Oh, forgetting.
Kind of, but
Or,
not really.
timing or
Well, if you could blame it on
Me.
bad timing, you could. But really, what do you blame it on?
me personally.
Yeah, blame it on something or someone.
On my lack of discipline.
Okay. Where did that come from, that you have a lack of discipline? Is that the truth about you?
Well, I take responsibility.
You're hoping to come up with a good answer right now.
Absolutely.
The question is, who said you have a lack of discipline?
I did.
And where did that come from?
Myself.
Well, really? No.
My standards and ideals.
Maybe. Whose standards and ideals are those?
My society, my parents, etc.
Yeah, now get very, very good. Now, who said, Rob, you've got no discipline?
Probably my parents.
Okay, yeah, so you blame them, that's perfect.
Sure.
That's why you didn't write your articles for your blog.
Like at a core level.
Yeah,
Interesting.
get that?
Sure.
Yeah, and there's some cleanup to do.
Interesting.
It is interesting. It is, and you're just beginning to touch on something. Yeah, we're going to go on because we're all just beginning to touch on stuff. Katie, you want to add anything to this? You have a look about you.
No, that was, well,
This is
okay.
Katie, everybody, the seminar leader. She's one of my coaches, my co-conspirators.
Thank you. And Rob, just so brilliant, right? You want to go back to like when your parents said that. You made a decision about yourself, right?
Sure.
You took it on, didn't you?
It's there.
Yeah, it's there for you, like, as it's real. And then, so it's then becomes a perpetration because you're blaming your parents for having said that about you. Do you see that?
Like completely unconsciously. And using
Totally.
their words.
You guys, perpetration withholds are not conscious.
They're automatic.
They're not conscious. So it's not like you're a mean, evil person on purpose. This is all going on in the background. You don't even see, the don't know that you don't know. Okay? So you get to go hunt for them, and this is great, you saw one. Like that. Fred just asked you 2 questions, and bam, you were right to your parents. It's awesome.
Thank
so,
you.
Everybody, that's like what there is to look for, is what did I take on from my parents? What did my teacher in 3rd grade tell me? What grade was it, Fred, for you? Did you tell them about the teacher?
7th grade lied to my teacher. No, I haven't told that story yet.
Totally, yeah.
But now you know.
Yeah. It's great. That's all. Thank you, Fred. That was brilliant. Thank you.
All right, now, we're going to move a little bit further here. This is an amazing distinction. When you begin to tell it on yourself and really dig them up, it's not going to just be like on the surface. Like when I was in the 7th grade, my teacher said, "Fred, where's your book report?" I said, "I don't know, I handed it to you. I gave it to you last Friday." She said, "No, I don't think so. It's not in my stack," and I never, ever did. I said, "I don't know what happened to it. I just lied through my teeth. I never did the book report." And you know what the result was, though? Distance between me and my teacher. She never trusted me again. And I couldn't even, confess that I'd done it. And I felt really bad about myself. I mean, bad, moral bad. Right? And then I just started lying. Whenever I would lie, I totally would withhold it. I didn't want people to think ill of me. I did not want them to see what a criminal I was. Just a big fat liar. And that's how I live my life. I want you to think I'm really well prepared. But I'm really just swinging out and improvising like crazy, hoping you won't know the difference. Doesn't work. No integrity there. No integrity. Okay, now I'm going to have you just share with each other. So just turn to your partner, and I want you to share back and forth. Some perpetration withholds you can see. Now don't be judging each other. You just want to be listening and get what's going on. Go ahead. I'll tell you when to switch. Start with one person, fill one out, and go back and forth. Okay. Just keep switching back and forth. We're not going to do a single switch. Just keep sharing with each other.
I just want to know. Or code of conduct for society.
perpetration withholds, and then we're going to do something else. So, take out your notebooks. You're going to need your notebook. You want to look at your list. Everybody come back. Come back, come back. You're going to do a little writing. Pull out your notebooks. If you need a notebook, raise your hand. Brilliant. We have everybody have a notebook. Great. You kept your promise. Bring your notebook. Excellent. All right, now you want to look at the lists that you've been making. The list of the areas of your life that you've been rating on the scale of workability and your relationships on the same scale. Now take a moment and look through those and write down any perpetration withholds you can now see. You're going to extend this into your assignment over the week. Write down what you did that you know was wrong and you've not communicated it. Notice who you blame or what you blame. And also write down the impact that it's had on you and your life. The impact that it's had on you and your life of perpetration withholds. As you write, I'm going to talk a little bit. We've begun to have this conversation a little bit, but there's more to go. So as you're writing, the question you want to ask, what's the perpetration withhold that you have? And what's been the impact of that perpetration withhold on you and your life? And then seeing that, begin to inquire, what new possibilities arise? Now that I can see this, what can I do if I were to clean this up? You want to look in the areas of life, but especially look also in the conversations that you have with people where there's been a perpetration withhold. You haven't cleaned it up. Paul just said he did clean that one up just now. The miracle of texting. Oh, called it. Great, perfect. So keep writing, and we're going to have some sharing while you're writing. I just wanted to have one person say, what are you seeing now might be possible if you clean up your perpetration withhold? Who can see something that might open up for you? Okay, Paul, I want to go with Cora, because Cora hasn't had an opportunity to share yet. So Cora, would you take the mic? So what are you seeing? What's the perpetration withhold and with whom?
The perpetration withhold is with my husband.
And what is it that you've been withholding?
Withholding basically that I'm cleaning up stuff around the house and I'm really not.
Ah, you're pretending to clean up the house and you haven't.
Yeah.
Okay, and the impact of that on you and your life is?
On me, like how I feel personally about
Well,
it.
you and your life includes everything in your life. That includes the people in the house and everything.
It's a mess.
It's a mess. Yeah, it's a mess.
And I'm not developing a plan or being more rigid with my kids to help pick up their stuff and be responsible for their things.
Okay, so that's also part of the impact.
Yes,
No plan, no responsibility.
right.
What's the impact on your husband?
He gets angry and upset when he comes home and
Yes.
it's out of order, and then he loses trust in me.
Yeah. Clear. And what's the relationship, the impact on your relationship with your husband? See, there's you and the relationship and your husband. What's the impact on the relationship?
Distant,
Distant.
right?
From both of you.
Mhm.
That's not how it was before.
Right.
Got to soften those elbows.
And it sounds like when I say it sounds like such a silly thing, but it's actually a big thing.
It has real life impact, everybody.
Yes.
Really brilliant. Thank you so much. Now we could